Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Today, we're going to be looking at AI in aviation,
Okay.
but we're going way beyond just autopilot here.
Right.
We've got some sources that really get into how to use AI effectively,
Uh-huh.
and it really comes down to asking the right questions.
Interesting.
Like,
Yeah.
imagine, okay, you're a pilot,
Okay.
and you're mid-flight, and suddenly there's an engine temperature spike.
Oh, wow.
How could AI help you right then and there?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a critical moment for sure.
Exactly. And that's the kind of problem solving we're going to be talking about today.
I'm intrigued. What's the approach?
Well, the sources really highlight this idea of precision,
Yeah.
which obviously is huge in aviation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And they're saying we need to apply that same precision to how we're interacting with AI.
Okay. I see where this is going.
So every prompt, every question we give these systems,
Right.
it needs to be thought out with the same level of detail as, like, a pre-flight check.
I like that analogy. So no more just like, hey, AI, how does a plane fly?
Exactly. It's got to be more specific, more targeted.
More like real world scenarios.
Yes. That's where scenario-based prompts come in.
Got it.
So instead of that generic question, it's more like, okay, AI, picture this. You're flying a Boeing 737.
Okay.
You hit some unexpected turbulence over the Rockies. What's your next move?
Oh, I like that. So you're really pushing the AI to think like a pilot would in that situation.
Right. Considering all those factors a human would, not just like spitting out some textbook answer.
It has to move beyond that theoretical knowledge.
Into practical application.
Exactly. Practical solutions.
And it really is almost like having a really experienced pilot there with you.
Yeah. Like a seasoned co-pilot giving you advice based on years of experience.
But instead of a human, it's an AI that's been trained on like tons of data.
And that brings up another interesting point. These procedures, the things we're asking AI to do, can get pretty complex.
Oh, absolutely.
The source uses the example of pre-flight safety checks.
Right.
There's so many steps involved. You can't just throw the whole thing at the AI all at once.
So it's more about guiding the AI through it.
Yes. Step by step. Like giving it a super detailed checklist.
Instead of being overwhelmed.
Exactly. The source even gives an example. They say the initial prompt could be like, list the key steps in a pre-flight safety check for a commercial aircraft.
Oh, okay.
And then you'd follow up with more specific prompts for each step.
That makes sense, breaking it down. So you're minimizing the risk of errors.
Right, much like a ground crew would meticulously go through their own checklist before clearing a plane for takeoff.
And this could apply to, like, any complex procedure in aviation.
Absolutely. Takeoff, landing, you name it. Break it down into those manageable steps that the AI can process effectively.
And that ties back to what we were saying about precision.
Now comes full circle.
By being so careful about how we prompt the AI.
We ensure it's processing the information correctly and giving us accurate and reliable results.
Right. No room for error. Okay, but now I want to go back to our pilot who's dealing with that engine temperature spike.
Yeah. Let's get back to that. That's a high-stakes situation.
Every second counts. And the source talks about how AI can actually be like a virtual co-pilot in scenarios like this.
Okay, how so?
Think about prompting the AI with questions.
Okay.
About, like, the most common causes of an engine temperature spike.
Got it.
And, like, potential paths for diagnosing the issue.
So you're essentially giving the pilot a really fast troubleshooting guide.
Yes. Like this AI assistant that can immediately analyze the situation.
They can sift through massive amounts of data, right? To identify the problem and suggest solutions.
Right. And hopefully before things get any worse.
It's like having the collective knowledge of every engineer or mechanic at your fingertips.
Right. Amazing.
It's drawing on this huge database of engine malfunctions.
Wow. So it can help the pilot make those critical decisions.
In real time.
But it's not just about reacting to problems when they happen.
Right.
The source also highlights AI's potential for, like, analyzing data and predicting future issues.
Okay, so instead of just putting out fires, we can use AI to prevent them from happening in the first place.
Exactly. Like being proactive.
I like it. Do they give any specific examples of that?
Yeah, they talk about prompting the AI to analyze how changes in altitude affect fuel consumption for a specific aircraft model.
Okay.
Like, let's say, a Boeing 737.
I can see how that would be useful.
Right. It could help airlines optimize flight paths,
Reduce costs.
minimize their impact on the environment,
It's all about thinking ahead, planning for the future.
and using data to make better decisions.
And speaking of anticipating the unexpected, the source also dives into what-if simulations for AI.
Oh, that's interesting. Like we use simulators to train pilots, right?
Exactly.
Why not use them to train AI too?
I'm following you.
So they give this example of prompting the AI to recommend corrective actions for an aircraft that's experiencing turbulence.
At a specific altitude and wind speed.
Yeah. So by running these
You
simulations,
can train AI to handle all sorts of tricky situations.
it's like putting the AI through flight school.
I love that. Preparing it for anything it might face in the real world.
Exactly.
And these simulations, they wouldn't just be limited to technical malfunctions. Think about unexpected weather,
Oh, right.
airspace congestion, even security threats
So you're creating a more adaptable system.
that can handle whatever comes its way.
It all goes back to how we interact with the AI.
It really does. It all starts with us.
Asking the right questions, crafting those precise prompts.
That's the key.
It's not just about having powerful AI, it's about using it in a smart way.
Strategically, to achieve the goals we set for it.
And those goals should always include safety, efficiency.
Absolutely. It's not about replacing human pilots or air traffic controllers. It's about giving them better tools to do their jobs.
To enhance human capabilities, not replace them.
Now, something we haven't touched on yet, but that the source really emphasizes, is the human aspect of aviation.
Okay.
AI shouldn't just be about the technical stuff. It should also be about supporting things like communication and teamwork.
Oh, that's a good point. Because those things are so important in aviation.
Crucial. They even give this specific example. Imagine prompting the AI to describe best practices for communication between pilots and air traffic control during heavy traffic.
Wow, so it could analyze communication patterns?
Right. Identify areas where misunderstandings could happen.
And maybe even suggest phrases that are less ambiguous, especially when you have people speaking different languages.
Exactly. You could think of it as having an AI-powered communications coach right there in the cockpit.
Helping pilots and air traffic controllers to communicate clearly.
And effectively.
Yeah.
Especially under pressure.
Right. And that clear communication is essential for safety.
Absolutely. And for efficiency, too.
Hmm.
Fewer delays, smoother operations.
And that leads us to another really important point: regulatory compliance. In aviation, the rules are the rules.
You can't mess around with that.
And any AI system has to be able to operate within those guidelines.
Of course. The source stresses that a lot.
Making sure that any AI used in aviation is aligned with industry standards.
Following all the regulations.
And they even suggest using AI to help airlines stay up to date with evolving regulation.
Oh, interesting. How would that work?
Like, imagine prompting the AI to summarize FAA regulations on, say, in-flight data recording.
That's actually a great example.
It could help ensure that everything's being done by the book.
Streamlining compliance.
So I think it's safe to say, based on what we've seen so far,
Yeah.
AI has the potential to totally change aviation.
Go to better.
But only if we use it strategically and with that precision we talked about.
Precisely.
It's not just about having powerful AI.
It's about asking the right questions.
Crafting those really clear prompts.
Understanding those unique challenges and opportunities that AI presents in this industry. And we've only scratched the surface.
I know. There's so much more to explore, so stick with us as we keep going deeper into the world of AI and aviation.
I'm ready. So before we got into regulatory compliance, we were talking about how AI could be used to improve communication in aviation.
Right. And not just in terms of like preventing errors or anything, but like overall efficiency too.
Exactly. Think about those conversations between pilots, air traffic control, ground crews.
Oh, yeah. Especially in like really busy situations.
High traffic.
Okay.
When that clarity is super important,
Absolutely.
like air traffic control.
Oh, yeah.
It's just this constant stream of information,
Right.
instructions,
Yeah.
adjustments.
It's a lot to keep track of.
And AI could really help to analyze those communication patterns.
Okay.
Identify places where misunderstandings might occur.
So it's not just about like translating the jargon or whatever.
Right. It's more than that.
It's about actually suggesting phrases that are less ambiguous.
Yeah, especially when you have multiple languages involved.
Oh, right. That's a good point.
That could definitely lead to smoother operations.
And maybe even fewer delays.
Exactly. But, what I find really intriguing is how AI could change communication between aircraft themselves.
Whoa. Okay, now my mind is going in all sorts of directions.
Think about it. We talked about AI as a virtual co-pilot for a single plane.
Right.
But what if it could actually facilitate communication between multiple aircraft?
So, like, for collision avoidance,
Yeah.
or for coordinating flight paths when airspace is really congested.
You're getting it. Imagine a system where aircraft can share real-time data
Oh, wow.
about their position, speed, intended route.
Okay, so instead of just relying on air traffic control,
Right.
they're basically talking to each other,
Exactly.
making adjustments on the fly.
Creating this much more dynamic and responsive system.
So the aircraft are almost like collaborating with each other.
And it's not just about safety.
Right.
Think about fuel efficiency,
Oh, yeah, we were just talking about that.
optimizing flight paths, potentially even reducing noise pollution,
It's like this whole network of intelligent aircraft.
working together to make the system more efficient.
It's amazing to think about.
It is. But we also have to remember, amidst all this excitement about what AI can do,
Yeah.
AI is a tool.
Right, it's not a magic solution to every problem.
Exactly. It's a powerful tool.
But we need to use it responsibly.
Ethically.
And thinking about the implication,
It can assist us.
inform our decisions,
But it can't replace human expertise.
especially in aviation.
It's about finding that balance
Right.
between what AI can do
Mm-hmm.
and the essential role of human oversight.
So we can't just blindly trust it.
No.
We have to understand its limitations.
We're talking about people's lives.
Yeah.
Safety has to come first.
Always.
And that means keeping humans in the loop.
And that brings us back to, like, the way we interact with these systems.
Those precise prompts,
The questions we ask.
the data we feed it,
It all matters.
it determines how effective the AI will be, how reliable it will be.
It's about building AI that's actually aligned with our values,
Right.
our priorities as humans,
AI that understands the nuances of human decision-making
the importance of clear communication.
and that absolute commitment to safety.
It's about more than just the technical side of aviation.
Right.
It's about the human element,
Why we fly
connecting people
safely.
efficiently.
We've covered so much in this deep dive.
Well, yeah, it's been fascinating.
Those nitty-gritty engine diagnostics to this bigger vision of aircraft communicating with each other.
It feels like we've only just started exploring what's possible.
And we have. We've only scratched the surface.
So I want to shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about the bigger picture.
The broader implications.
How could AI reshape the entire aviation industry?
That's the big question. Well, I think one of the most significant impacts will be on how we design and operate aircraft.
Oh, okay.
AI could lead to planes that are not only more fuel efficient, but also able to adapt to changing conditions in real time.
So they could, like, adjust their flight paths to avoid turbulence?
Yes.
Or optimize their performance based on weather patterns?
Exactly.
That would be incredible.
And while fully autonomous commercial flights are still a ways off,
Right.
AI is already playing a big role in developing systems that can assist pilots with things like takeoff and landing,
Oh, yeah.
navigation,
It's almost like having a co-pilot who never gets tired.
or distracted.
But what about the pilots themselves?
Right.
Will they become obsolete in this future where AI is doing so much?
I believe pilots will always have a vital role
Yeah.
to play. Their experience, their judgment,
Right.
their ability to handle those unexpected situations, those are things you can't replace.
So it's more about giving them better tools,
Augmenting their abilities.
creating more of a partnership in the cockpit.
Exactly. Harnessing the strengths of both humans and AI to make aviation safer, more efficient,
No,
more sustainable.
precisely.
Now, we've talked a lot about the potential benefits,
Right.
but what about the risks? Are there things we should be worried about as this technology keeps developing?
Of course. With any powerful technology, there are potential downsides. One concern is bias in the algorithms.
Oh, right.
So if the data used to train the AI is skewed,
Incomplete.
it could lead to biased outcomes.
That could affect things like flight paths,
Yeah.
right? Safety protocols.
It's crucial to make sure that data is diverse,
Yeah.
representative, and free from those inherent biases.
And what about cybersecurity?
Another big one.
Could these systems be vulnerable to, like, hacking?
Absolutely. Aviation relies on these interconnected systems.
Right.
So cybersecurity has to be a top priority
We have to design these AI systems with really strong security measures,
to prevent unauthorized access.
data breaches. It's a good reminder that as we get excited about all this new technology,
Yeah.
we also have to be mindful of the risks,
Be proactive.
finding that balance between innovation and responsibility.
I think this deep dive has been incredibly insightful.
It has.
AI is already changing aviation in so many ways.
And what we've discussed is really just the beginning.
It feels like we're just starting to see what's possible.
It's a truly exciting time to be involved in this field. The possibilities are vast.
And the potential benefits are huge.
We've gone from the very specific, like, engine diagnostics
Right.
to this broad vision of the future of flight.
So to wrap up this deep dive, what are your final thoughts for our listeners?
It's been really interesting, getting into all these details about AI in aviation.
It has.
As we kind of wrap up this deep dive, one thing that I think is important to remember is that AI's impact goes way beyond just the plane itself.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we've talked about like cockpits and communication.
Right.
But what are some other parts of the aviation world that AI could change?
Well, think about airports.
Okay.
All those operations on the ground.
Right.
Baggage handling, gate assignments.
Yeah.
AI could, optimize all of that.
Wow.
It could even predict passenger flow.
Oh, interesting.
Help prevent those, delays that everyone hates.
So no more running through the terminal to catch your connecting flight?
Exactly. It's about making the whole experience smoother.
Yeah.
More seamless for passengers.
From the moment you arrive to when you depart.
And, we've talked about sustainability, AI optimizing flight paths to save fuel.
Right.
But it could also help to reduce waste in other areas.
Okay.
Minimize emissions across, the entire aviation ecosystem.
Now you're talking.
Smarter airports.
Yeah.
More sustainable fuels.
Even optimizing ground transportation.
Exactly. AI could really help us make flying more environmentally friendly.
It's kind of like, those AI assistants we use every day.
Yeah. If AI can help us with traffic and our schedules,
right,
why not apply that to air travel?
It's about thinking bigger. Using AI to address the impact of aviation on a global scale.
And just like our AI assistants are always learning and getting better,
Yeah.
AI in aviation is doing the same thing.
It's constantly evolving.
So, what we've talked about today.
It's really just a starting point.
It's like a sneak peek at what might be possible.
Exactly. So, for people who want to learn more,
stay ahead of the curve.
Where should they start?
That's a great question. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are wondering that.
Well, I think the most important thing is to just be curious.
Okay.
Read articles. Listen to podcasts like this one.
Yeah.
Go to industry events. Talk to people about the future of aviation.
Be part of the conversation.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to, experiment if
yeah.
you work in the industry.
Yeah.
See how you can use AI tools to solve problems where you are.
Even small changes can make a difference. Absolutely. Like automating those, routine tasks.
Right.
Using AI to analyze data.
A very little bit helps.
And most importantly, remember that AI is a tool.
Right.
It's not a replacement for human skill and knowledge.
We still need those pilots.
We need engineers.
You need all those people who make aviation work.
It's our responsibility to guide this technology, make sure it's used ethically, responsibly.
This is a really important time for aviation.
A pivotal moment.
AI has the potential to completely change how we fly.
The future is being written right now.
And that's exciting, but it
Yeah.
also makes you think.
It does.
What role will each of us play in this?
Yeah.
Will we just, sit back and watch it happen?
Or will we help to shape this future?
It's a choice we all have to make. So I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI and aviation.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been an amazing conversation. And to our listeners, until next time.
Keep exploring.
Keep learning.
And keep looking to the skies.